So welcome back to Road to 100 episode 2. In this episode I'm going to take you through a full day of intermittent fasting and also my back, chest, triceps and bicep workout. So full upper body workout, obviously throwing some abs as well. I'm going to start by weighing myself to show you how my progress has been so far. Let's step on thy scales and if they're going to work. So that's 91.2. And it's not working, but 91.2. I will see you in the next clip. Okay, so usually I start my day by downing a pint of water. It's the only time I down anything, purely because you've been without water for about 7 to 8 hours. But today, intermittent fasting, it's a bit different. I want to make sure I'm hydrated really fast and I'm able to keep going until 2 o'clock today. So 450 milliliters of filtered water, 1 lime for electrolytes, half a teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt or Celtic salt or Mexican salt, whichever one you have. I'll put the recipe in the description, so do not worry. And this obviously adds minerals to the water. Potassium adds more minerals to the water, and you need a balance of potassium and sodium just to avoid cramps and to get the best out of it. And then also, well, that's obviously more minerals. And then you've got the cider vinegar. I put 2 tablespoons of cider vinegar, make sure it has a mother in it. I personally use Bragg. It's been around years and it's got that mother at the bottom. So 2 tablespoons, adds minerals, adds electrolytes, fantastic stuff. And it also aids with digestion. And all this combined will hydrate you really fast to keep you going. It's a great hangover cure actually as well, to be honest. I've done that a few times, but those days are in the past. And I'm going to put this all together and sip on it. Sip on it through a straw, purely because you want to save your teeth. I'll see you in the next clip. So in case you're wondering how it tastes, it looks like a margarita and it tastes like a margarita without the sugar. So the time is 2:06, I'm about to break my fast. So what I've got is, I've got some eggs, fried eggs, 6 fried eggs that is, some sauerkraut, good for probiotics, tastes bloody great as well. And I've got some sardines which I lathered in Frank's hot sauce and some lemon. Literally lathered in Frank's hot sauce. It took me a while to get used to them. They're high in omega-3 fatty acids and high in protein. Then I've got 100 grams of macadamia nuts, high in omega-7, really high in good fats, medium protein, and I've got coffee. And 2 squares of Lindt black chocolate, 90%. This comes out about 1,700 calories, which is a lot, but this is my first meal 2.5 hours before my workout. So I'll see you in the gym. What's up? So basically I start every routine with a brisk walk on incline, then I move that into a jog after around 4 minutes. So for the last minute I do a jog / sprint. It depends on how I feel. This gets your body warm, the blood circulating, and avoids those nasty injuries. And I follow this with some foam rolling and dynamic stretching, which I'll show you another time. After the dynamic stretching and foam rolling, I do 1 minute dead hangs. I do them for 2 sets. This really stretches out your shoulders, stretches out your upper back, it stretches out your neck. It's really, really good. If you haven't tried this before, definitely give this a shot. This is one of my favorite things to do in the gym. So this is the second upper body routine in my upper lower split. I do the first routine on the Monday for upper body, and then the next one on the Friday, nice big gap. I'm starting with incline dumbbell press. And I really do like this exercise, and it's important to keep the incline at 30 degrees, not 45. 45, your shoulders take over and your chest doesn't get the same workout as it does at 30. All the science backs the 30-degree angle. So stick to science. And I make sure to keep that natural arch in my lower back, my chest out, my shoulders pinned back, and my head against the bench. My feet are planted on the floor, and that's the warm-up set done. I like to do 10 reps, not go any higher, purely because I don't want to exhaust the muscle. And then my working set is with 16 kilos, which is
really light. I was doing over double, so I was doing 36 to 38 kilos before for 8 reps. That sucks, but it's all part of the recovery and it's part of the process. So my arms, well, my elbows should be at 45 degrees. They're not. That's one correction I'm going to make next time. It really does help get that chest in full motion and also take the emphasis off the shoulders and triceps. And next up, Dumbbell Flys. This is one of my personal favorites for chest. I really let it stretch at the bottom, and then I push up and contract at the top and hold it for maybe half a second / a second. Make sure you've still got that arch in your lower back. It's natural to have that arch, remember that. Put your chest out, pin your shoulders back, head on the bench, and don't straighten your arms. Straightening your arms will put a lot of pressure on your shoulder and will put a lot of pressure on your bicep as well. I recommend bending the arms as I'm doing the bottom motion and pulling up and straightening them at the top, not at the bottom motion. First up for back, straight arm pushdowns. This is great to warm up your lower back. Well, not your lower back, your back in general. Give it a good stretch. It really stretches your lats at the top, your whole upper back region. So if you let it stretch at the top, and I use an open grip for this because I find it's the most effective. I've tried various different grips, but I just find you get the best contraction at the bottom when you're using the open grip. So make sure your hips bending slightly back, and when you thrust up, it's like a deadlift movement. You push your chest and you push your body into the movement, and at the top you kind of relax and stretch at the top, but don't let it fall completely up. That's not good practice, and also it makes an annoying sound. So yeah, make sure it's stretching at the top but not fully. And the second exercise and the final exercise for back, seated rows. Some people like to do this with a straight bar with a rope, but I like to do it with this triangular bar. I find it a lot better. You can really get a stretch at the bottom and pull in and squeeze at the top. Get my rhomboids involved, get my whole upper back involved, as well as my lats. So make sure to let that stretch fully at the bottom, and when you come up, you hold that squeeze and really contract and pull those shoulder blades together. That is really important to make sure you get working all those little back muscles, the ones you rarely ever see. Just another angle so you can see exactly what I mean. You let it go forward, you let your back go forward and stretch and pull it back and squeeze. And yeah, this is a really good exercise. You can do, there's many variations, like I said, different bars and stuff, but I like to utilize this. And if you don't have this machine in your gym, then I suggest joining a new gym. No, I'm kidding. You can do corner rows in a landmine position. So next up, Landmine Push Press. This is for shoulders now. Moving on to shoulders, I start by warming it up, just 10 reps on each side, just to get the shoulder joint warm and just to make sure I'm injury free. Even though I'm not injury free, I'm recovering, but you know, I've learned my lesson. So I just do 10 each side to make sure it's nice and warm. Remember, with this motion, you don't thrust into it, don't jerk around. You just control at the bottom and push up, control the bottom, breathe in and breathe out, breathe out, in, out, in. Yeah, make sure the breathing is right with all the exercises. You don't want that to go wrong. Your head will end up looking like a tomato. So my working set is 15 kilos. The bar is 20 kilos, but I don't count the bar because it's too confusing. You're only really using half the bar. If you don't have this set up with the corner, it looks like I've got a hole in the corner, and I do have a hole in the corner, but the hole in the corner is actually too big. So what I suggest doing, if you don't have this, if you don't have like a landmine setup, you can put the barbell in between the disc, rest it in between the disc like I'm doing, and it stays, it doesn't flick up. Just be really nice and controlled with it. Look at how controlled I'm being. I'm trying to lower it down slowly, a bit weaker with my left side, so I am jerking more with my left side, but generally really controlled. This is a very functional exercise for your shoulder. Make sure to not throw yourself into it, just really control it and move with the bar. And my next exercise, I do side lateral raises, dumbbell lateral raises, however you want to call them. I usually do more reps, but I'm sticking to the 6 to 10 because I want to build the muscle and I want to build the strength up. Be sure to let your elbows go up first and your arms slightly bent. Some people do it straight, some people do it too bent, but you just need a slight bend in your arm. You'll see what I mean when I go up, yeah, there, just so you get that contraction going. And then biceps. Incline dumbbell curls are great. This is, like I said, my second routine of the week. In the first routine, I'll take you through in the forthcoming weeks, but I do barbell curls, and this I find really stretches out the biceps at the bottom, and at the top you can really contract and squeeze the biceps at the top like I'm doing there. And the stretch is very important because the biceps can get really tight, and if they get too tight, it can lead to injuries, and yeah, it can actually inhibit growth a bit if they get too tight. But yeah, it's a really good way to stretch it and really squeeze at the top. You will feel this a lot in the biceps, trust me. Then it's on to triceps. So I'm doing some rope tricep push downs. I really like this exercise, but as I said before, my triceps are not that great. They're not 100% yet, but they're close to it. They're recovering. So this is my right is really taking full control of this. I can't do dips at the moment, so I'm building back up to that, but these rope tricep push downs were great. Remember to keep your shoulders back, your chest up. I put one leg in forward so I can wrap the rope around it. Some people put two legs in forward so they can wrap the rope around two legs, but I prefer one leg. Then on to crunches. I do abs every time I train in the gym. I think it's so important. These are push throughs, so make sure you get the lowest stretch at the bottom. Don't go all the way up because you'll involve your neck too much. Just push through and crunch at the top. This really works your upper and middle abs and gives you a good squeeze. I tend to do as many as I can, but generally speaking, that's 10 to 15 reps, and yeah, that's good for my abs. Then hanging leg raises, I tend to do as much hanging exercises as possible. Hanging leg raises are great. I did a variation of them last time. I did with my legs bent. I'm doing my legs straight now. I like to do many different variations of similar exercises because this burns your lower abs. You might see a bit of swinging at the bottom, but I'm telling you now, this is harsh on your lower abs. If you want to build your lower abs, do exercises like this that involve your lower abs really contracting. And then onto obliques. So I do 2 sets of Kettle Bell Swings, and the important part with this is to stop the kettlebell each point with your obliques. So you're twisting with your obliques and stopping. Make sure you're twisting your legs, as you can see at the bottom, with the kettlebell and stopping at each corner. This will burn your obliques. I always do normal crunch exercise for upper and middle, then I do a lower, then I do an oblique exercise, and I finish it with some lower back exercises. This is great to strengthen your lower back, strengthens your rhomboids as well. It's really important to make sure you do lower back exercises. If you're doing ab exercises, it balances out, it strengthens your core. It's very important, and it will also definitely help your deadlifts as well and help you avoid lower back injuries in the future. So that's it for my commentary. I look forward to seeing you in the next clip.
Okay, so I'm back from the gym. I'm gonna have 150 grams of strawberries, still very keto friendly, 2 chicken drumsticks, and I sauteed some onions, some green pepper and some chili, but you can't see the chili, and that's parsley. And I put on the chicken drumsticks, I put some cinnamon, I put some sumac, I put some, what else did I put? Put some chili and a tiny bit of paprika. Very Arabic style. I'm going to eat this, and after this I have about 1,800 calories to do in my carb meal. And that's a lot in one meal, but this one turned out pretty darn low. I had a protein shake as well just before this, so this whole meal, including the protein shake, came out around 700. What an 1,800 calorie dinner looks like. That's 100 grams of potatoes, some, what did I put? Some carrot, some celery, some cashew nuts, and I put some primal mayo on top of that, and a bit, not Tabasco, Frank's hot sauce, never say Tabasco. And then those, if you can see them, if it ever wants to focus, are grilled chicken hearts, and trust me, they're amazing. They're chewy, they're nice, they're not flavoured like liver, they're not bitter, they're a bit sweet actually, and they're so nutritious, packed with iron, and you know how you need your iron. And then we have, for dessert, we have the coconut water lollies. These are actually really good, if it ever wants to focus. Yeah, very low calories. Then I've got a kombucha, I've got an apple, which is obviously Pink Lady, and I've got this Biomed. And that is going to be my dinner. But if you want to stay with me,
after dinner I'm going straight to watch The Nun, and if you want to stay with me for a full review of The Nun, you can, but it's not essential, as I know some of you will not like that horror film. I'm really into horror films, so I'm definitely going to give a breakdown after this, but if not, bye. So, my verdict on The Nun. It had its moments. It started very, very strong, jumpy, had a good plot to begin with, but then it kind of turned into Resident Evil / some sort of horror computer game. I don't even know what was going on at some point. The makeup wasn't great, and yeah, I think you saw too much of The Nun. I don't want to ruin it. I still recommend going to see it, but it's definitely not my favourite horror film that I've seen in a while. Even Hereditary completely blasted that out of the water. If you haven't seen Hereditary, go watch Hereditary if you are a horror fan. And if you'd like any horror recommendations, drop a comment below. Happy to give you some. I've watched a hell of a lot in my time. So that's it for this video. Thanks for staying for the horror tip.